Hey guys, this is Monet with Tick Life, and today I am filming my teacher planner walkthrough. Today I will be showing you what my planner looks like that is inside of my TPT store. I do have two layouts of that. One is what you'll be seeing today. It is the flower or the floral watercolor print, and then the other one I have available is the donut one. The donut planner is just updated. I already have a walkthrough for that planner from last year, so I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. As you can already see, I do use a ARC binder. You can purchase these at Staples. I really love this system. I've had this system since 2014, I want to say. When I open my ARC binder, you already see I have my tabs. These tabs have a purpose. My planner is very simple and purposeful, and it's a great organizer. These tabs are included in the PowerPoint. I use PowerPoint to design and create my planner. So this tab, it says planning checklist, and the great thing about it, I can take it out and I can put it wherever I need it to be. But for right now, I just have it in the front. The planning checklist, it says community meeting, warm-up, mini lesson activities, centers, and closing. So this lets me know that I can just check these things off as I think about them and plan for them. Non-negotiables that are in my county, you must always post and know your standard, your essential question, and I can. And then for student engagement, I always try to think about different ways to get them engaged in the lesson. I don't want it to be a one-note lesson, meaning I just do a whole group meeting. I want to make sure that I think about things like interactive notebooks, peer tutoring, how can they help each other, what technology am I going to integrate, and any projects that I can include. And then on the back, I also think about the type of assessment that I'm going to use. Is it going to be, is there going to be an exit ticket? Will I do a quiz? Also, I try to think about what other observations can I make, portfolio, performance, journal, online. And then things like to keep in mind are there prior knowledge, materials that I may need, strategies that I'm going to teach, and am I going to create an anchor chart? So I love this because it really just has my brain on a paper, and I can just check with my Expo marker and keep on going. Another one that I have is a daily checklist. I have this format available in weekly checklists because I know some people do things a week in advance. I honestly do things daily because more than likely something's going to pop up, and I can just make a note of what I need to copy cut, what I need to file, who I need to call or email, and I can just check it off as I do it at the end of the day. And then on the back, if I need to plan something great, something specific, or create something, I can check it off as I complete it. So I really love these tabs. They are available in the planner when you purchase. This divider, I got it from Staples. It's a part of the Martha Stewart collection, I believe. This is my cover. My last name is Mike, M-I-K-E. Yes, I know it is different, but that's my last name. Then I have the school year. Okay, so this is the teacher information sheet. I love the font that I used. It's really cute. And then like the important information, you know, like the name, school number, address, fax number, things that you may not know at the top of your mind. Those are in a very simple print, but you do have a place for that. Also, where it says all about me, you have your grade, your work email address, your classroom number. I know I forget that from time to time. I don't know what number is above my door. And then in case of emergency, I put two places. That way, just in case someone is busy, you can have a backup and they can get in touch with that person. So I really love the flowers. They're in that watercolor print, so it just looks really cute. So this is more so, I guess, for a female. I love the donut planner. I believe it fits for both genders. And then you have your school directory. It is already labeled. So you have the place for the phone number and email for your principal, nurse, front office counselor, and librarian. So on this sheet, you have the passwords that you use for your class, You have account, username, and password. I always forget that, so I just love that you can write that down, and then when they expire, because there are some places after 30 days or after 90 days you have to change them, or for whatever reason, let's say you forgot, you wrote it down and you changed it, you can just cross it out. That's what I do, so that I know that the up-to-date one is the one that I just wrote. And I have a few of those sheets. So I've already set up my teacher planner. This is not a GIF. This is the one I will be using. I have my class roster sheet. I love this because it'll be right at my hands versus me having to go on to our system that we use for this information. I'll have it literally in my notebook for any reason. So I do have it numbered, I believe, for 40 students. I know some people, you all have really large class sizes, so I wanted to make sure that I could accompany that. It has place for the student's name and the student number. And then for me, I do have 2 classes this year because I am departmentalized, or I team teach. So I will be doing ELA social studies, and my team teacher will be doing the math and the science. So what I've decided to do is do class A and class B. I do have it set up where you can do not only class A, class B, but you can do like period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So it will look a little different depending on which one you get. For my elementary teachers that are inclusive, what do they call it? Inclusive, I want to say. That means that you do not change. It is one simple class roster. Okay, so this is the note sheet. I went ahead and put that right here because I'm actually getting inside of my student information. That's what that tab means. So this is my student information part of my binder. The first part was like my teacher information part, but this one is for students. This is the student or afternoon dismissal sheet. I have a place for buses, car rider, walker, daycare, and after school. So what I simply do is write the bus number. I know some schools like to do colors, so it might be bus blue, bus red, and you can also do van with the bus, so that works as well, but it just lets me know where each student is going that's in my homeroom. I also have class birthdays. I just really love my little flowers in the corners. So for each month, you just write down the student's name, and that way you can keep up with who you like to get a treat, or if a parent calls, you're kind of already anticipating them to say, hey, on the 15th, I would love to bring cakes and cookies for the class. Next, after that, I have my student information sheet. You are able to have 4 students on a sheet. Inside of each box, you have student's name, parent name, emergency contact, if they have any medical issues, email address, and phone number. I like to use parent email addresses when I set up certain accounts, so it goes straight to them. Like for example, Class Dojo, it goes straight to them. I'm working on Schoology, so I want to use their personal one so they can get the information straight to them. At the bottom it says start as strangers, finish as family. I put this quote in my last year's planner, and I decided to keep it because it's really true. That's my ultimate goal with my students. I don't want them to remain students. I want them to convert into family. So I just love this little reminder inside of my planner. And so again, I already have a couple sheets of that because this is my real deal planner for the school year. The next one is only for parent contact. I do have different formats for parent contact. I have it where you can literally create a page for each student, and you can log every time you contact a specific parent. I also have it like this where you can just write the student that the parent that you're contacting regarding which student, the reason, and then you check the way that you are contacting them. So you have phone, email, in person, and notes, whether you send a note home. For my new teachers, document. This is your best friend. Even if you don't use my system, please have a system, because trust me, the day and the time will come where your principal, admin, counselor is going to ask, have you contacted Johnny's mother? And you need to know, yes, I did on this date, and we talked about this, and her response was this. Print out those emails, put them inside. Like, you'll know which parents you need to really have documentation for. And do not fight your instinct. If something inside of you says, hey, I need to document this person, you better document this person. So I have a few pages for that already. I prefer this system, and if I have a child that maybe is a part of a tier 2, tier 3, or they have a 504, or if I just really feel like I need to have some system for this independent student, I'm just going to add them in here. And so it'll say Johnny Williams, and then it'll have the date that I contacted the parent, the method, and the reason. And so I can just keep a complete log regarding Johnny. So that way mommy can't say, I never spoke to Miss Mike, I don't know what Miss Mike is talking about, she never told me that he was failing. I could just whip it open to my parent contact log and say, well, I contacted you on this day, this day, this day, before progress reports, and we call it a day. So teachers, please document. The next system is where I really start to get into planning. This is my year at a glance. I love the little antlers. I think that's so cute. And what I have every month for the school year. It starts in July, ends in next June. And then I have lines where I could just put things that I want to make sure stick out regarding the school year. It could be when we do our map assessment. It could be when we have specific field trips. Or I could go in, I can highlight holiday breaks, but I don't really need to do that. I have my county's calendar behind this, so this is more so for me, and so I can just put what I need to put on the lines, and then I can see it all at one glance versus going from month to month. Just for FYI purposes, I like to do 2 months at a time inside of my teacher planner. I don't like to have a whole year inside of a planner because it'll go from this to this, and I'm not carrying this in my purse. It's just not going to happen. So for me, I personally like to keep only 2 months at a time inside of my Spiral notebook. And like I said, it's not that I'm not going to be informed about the other months because I have this inside of it. So if I really need to know something specific about October, I can put it here. But I'm not going to have October inside of my planner for a whole nother month. So I try to keep it very short, and then I file it away. If I need to refer back to it later, I just go back to that file and say, hey, well, in August, I did this, I planned for this, we already talked about this standard, things of that nature. So you do have sheets for monthly planning. It'll look like this, but the month may be different. It does have a monthly calendar on the side, and so I can do notes that I want to write, goals for that month, deadlines that I know in advance, collabs and meetings that I have to attend. And then what I like to do also, like let's say if I know I have meetings every Wednesday, I'll just go and highlight, and it lets me know that there's something going on that date. And then I have my full month calendar. It's Monday to Friday. And then I have, again, notes on the side. I can also put labels up here specifically. I use this same calendar for my small groups calendar. So what I did is I took this same document and I just inserted a text box up here and I put small groups. And so then I use it to plan small groups. So as you see, this is the month of July. I have not really written into it because I was waiting to film this video and I didn't want all my stuff out there, but I will definitely be putting information in today to help me prepare for back to school. I just wanted to show you that, again, the only thing that's going to be different is the month. So this is for August. And this will be very, very packed considering this is when we start back school. So I would probably highlight the first day of school. My open house is on the 1st. I can highlight that as well. First day is the 6th. We have a assembly on the 10th. So those are things that I would definitely put over here and make note of. Then I have August, same type of calendar. I just go in and I put in what specifically I need to know or plan. So if I make plans to meet with my team or to meet with a parent, I can just put it in here. If we do a grade level open house to just talk to parents specifically about 4th grade, I can document that here, and that's where I put that information. It says changing lives one day at a time. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and their reflection here. I left the bubbles open because you can put in the date of that week, and then also you could put the range of the week. And then over here is just little things to kind of get your mind going for each week. So what are you excited for? What are your goals and notes? You'll see that I put goals a lot because I really like to be goal-minded and know what I'm working toward. This is what I use when I attend meetings. I put the date of the meeting, the content area. So is this focused for the entire faculty, or is this specifically for reading? Is it specifically for 4th grade? Is it for small groups? I'll put that there. Important reminders that they may share in their presentations, important dates that they may share, links that I may need to go look up or explore afterwards, and then notes. I also have a professional development page on this page as well. I will use it specifically for a PD, and why? Because I have a box for strategy and I have a box where I can draw. Okay, so if you heard humming or singing at some point in this video, that was my adorable son. He wanted to make a cameo, but I had to kick him out the room. So just going back to this professional development page, I really like to draw when I'm at professional development, because usually when they're talking, I may envision an image of how I want to use it inside of my classroom. So I like to put that here. I also have a note sheet where I also have drawing space as well, because I do a lot of doodling. The doodling makes sense to me, may not make sense to the other person, but it's for me. I also have an idea sheet because I do have a lot of ideas very often, whether it's for YouTube or whether it is for TPT or just for my students, on how I can make real world connections. So I love to have an idea sheet. And then I have 2 formats. So this is the second one where I can write on one side and then I can draw my idea over here, because I am very visual again. So I like to always have a space for that, and both are available inside of the planner. This is actually my reading at a glance sheet for 4th grade this year. I crafted this using my district calendar, along with my personal opinion and how things should be taught and when they should be taught. As I shared in that video, I believe it's called Effective Planning. A lot of times there are certain things that kids don't always grasp the first time, and according to my county, a lot of these things are only taught one time. So what I do is I insert them again to make sure that the students are getting that information over and over again, because again, I know they're not going to get theme. So I talk about theme week 8 in my unit 1, but I also go into week 1 of my unit 2 with theme. Point of view is sometimes something else that they may need help with, and so you'll see point of view again, specifically I believe in my unit 6, but like the colors over here are the units. The green is my writing. The reading standards are in pink, and then each week that's my focus. Now just because theme is on week 7, it doesn't mean that I don't have a small group activity still talking about theme in week 7, but it just lets me know that my mini lessons, my small groups or strategy groups will be specifically talking about these things. But again, I'm going to be meeting the needs of my students, but this just helps me to overall have a good pacing guide. Alright, so this is my lesson planning section. This is what my lesson planner looks like. I already chose which one I'm going to use. I believe I have about 4 different options. I believe I have 5x5, I have 6x5, 7x5. So depending on how many classes you teach or just the structure of your classroom will determine which structure you use for the lesson planner. But I promise you, whether you are elementary, middle, or high school, or even college, I have you. This planner is very diverse and it meets the needs of all educators. I did go ahead and insert the days of the week and break down how I teach my class. So as you'll see, I always do a warm-up. my mini lesson, independent practice, mini lesson. And then where you see X's, that means I don't give it that day. So on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I have some type of exit ticket for assessment, but then I use that time also on Tuesday and Thursday for social studies specifically. I will have a social studies center every single day. However, I won't be doing a lesson for social studies every day. So that's how I'm choosing to block my class. I do 2 mini lessons because I will be doing a cafe system for small groups. So my mini lessons are about 15 minutes. And then before we go into our cafe rotation, I do an independent practice just to see what they retained and what they can apply from that lesson. We do cafe, then we go to another mini lesson, and then we do either exit ticket or social studies. So that is how I decided to break my time for each class period. Also, I just want to show you how, like in the corner here, I have the week. I already inserted that in for myself. I put the focus and needed materials over here, so that way as I am planning whether to do a book read, I can see that here. So this is my weekly planner. I inserted the X's inside of my template just to again help me know what I will be doing and won't be doing certain days. Again, I went ahead and did the month of August, and then at the top it says remember to smell the flowers. So I try to stay very focused. What I did for this week, we will be out for a holiday right here. I believe it's Labor Day. So I just went and made it all gray and put no school so I could plan effectively. The next section, is small groups. I've already created my rotations. I do small groups Monday through Thursday, not on Friday. On Friday, I really want to do assessments and projects, so I just want to make sure that that wouldn't mess up any of my rotations. So just to give you a little information about my small groups, the activities that students will be doing, of course we will have guided reading, social studies, words their way, writing, a reteach that is digital, so that's like flipped learning or flipped classroom. And then the things that they'll be doing 2 times a week will be words their way and writing and social studies. The reason why I wanted to do a reteach that was digital, so basically what I'll be doing each week is filming a mini lesson and then attaching an activity. So they'll go to their Chromebook, they'll go to Schoology, watch the video. It is a self-paced video, meaning that I'll tell them when to stop, but they can also stop and take notes as well as they're watching the video, and then they'll complete the activity, and I'll make sure they get a double dose of like one-on-one work with the students. So that's kind of like guided reading 2 times, if that makes sense. Here in the yellow, this is where I will put specific student names. So they're in the yellow. So I have the purple, orange, blue, and green group. I like to use colors. I stay away from yellow and red because a lot of times kids like, oh, I'm in red, I'm dumb. Oh, I'm in green, I'm on level. So by not having red, I think it throws it off a little bit. And then that way I can tell the green group, come on over, blue group, whatever have you. I do post a PowerPoint up so students know where they're going every single day. I like for them to have a visual and for myself to have a visual as well, so that way it's a little bit more organized as we're transitioning around the room. We do 2 small groups a day as I shared from the lesson plan sheet. Alright, so this is the calendar that I was talking about earlier. I just went ahead and put small groups up here, so this lets me know specifically when I'm working with which students, like what are their names and what are the strategy that we're going to be focused on. What am I going to be using? So let's say I'm going to use Run Jane Run. I can put that here as my small group resource. Let's say I'm going to be doing the word ladder on this day. Okay, then I can put that here. I don't plan to be able to do this too far in advance because I could meet with my purple group and see that, hey, they just don't have it. I need to do what I did over again with them. So this is kind of paced at the pace of my students, but I just like to have it for organizational purposes. this is my student log. I love, love, love the student log. Again, this is my small group section, so everything in this section is specifically for small group record keeping and organization. So the students that I'm meeting with, the skill, the date, the level at which they're on. So they may have a D regarding their Fontana reading level. I could put that here. Our goal that we're working on. And a lot of times before you even get started, we'll discuss some of these things. What am I using and what we worked on. Students who mastered it, their names will go here. Students who need to continue to work on a goal, their name will go here. And then any notes that I need to take. So I have a few of those. I do want to go ahead and say that I will probably have a couple sheets here where it's just squares with my students' names in it. At this time, I don't have my student roster, so I don't know who's in my class. So I'm not able to make that, but the purpose of those squares would be for me to just document my conferencing with them, whether that is when they're reading or when they are have finished their writing. I can go in and we could talk about the writing strategy, talk about how they're doing. Are they able to put those punctuations in the right place? Are they able to have a hook for the beginning of the narrative, things like that? And I can just make some simple anecdotal notes regarding them and keep record of my conferencing. The next section, as you see, is response to intervention. This is so big in my county, like it's ridiculous. This is my second year in my county, and I just did not know how big of a focus this was, but now that I do know, I created a section for response to intervention inside of my teacher planner. It is available on TPT. So from the very beginning, before students even come, as soon as they put my students under my name, and I go in and I can see who am I responsible for tier 2 and tier 3 instruction, I will go ahead and put the student's name, their intervention, how many days do I need to work with them, length of time, and goal. The subject will of course be reading. I will not be doing math interventions. My partner teacher will be doing the math interventions. And then I can log my tier 2, so that way I can just see it all at one time before I make my response intervention calendar. That calendar is going to look something similar to the one that I use for small groups. So basically I'll know which days I am going to pull that specific student or those specific students. If they're tier 2, I believe I can do 2 or 3 students at a time. Tier 3, I can only do one child at a time. So I'll put Johnny Smith every Wednesday for 30 minutes. And that way I can keep order and documentation of my legal obligation to do these tiers. So this is what I am using for each student just to record their data. So again, their name, the tier, the frequency of my intervention, the intervention itself, the goal that we're working on, that's usually on the document inside of the computer that I can just look and I can just write it back here to just remind me what we're working on. What type of assessment will I be using? Their base score from their original testing and their goal score. What do they need in order to get out of the tier system? A lot of times it's usually like an 80. Their base could be anything from a 13 to a 60. So they don't have that far to go, but we want them to get that 80 at least 3 times consistently before they can get out of tier 2. And you need data 6 to 8 weeks collected. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess I decided to just do 7 weeks of consistent data, hopefully to get that goal met. If not, we continue. We just continue that until they have met their goal. If they don't meet the goal, then I believe probably after 2 rotations, I will recommend them to go up to the next tier or to be tested. So this is what my system looks like. I have another pocket divider in the back. I had the first one that one doesn't have any flowers. It is in the front, but I really do love this system. I do want to show you what else I have inside. So this is my lesson planner template. You can check out my lesson planning video if you want to know exactly how I use this. It looks just like this. I literally go word for word and explain how I lesson plan. But I will have this probably right here. I also have my county calendar in here, and then a backup cover that I liked, that I wanted to show. Plant the seed today, admire the flower tomorrow. And then I have my name in the school term down here. I haven't put it inside yet because I'm rocking the black and white one in the front. But I hope you guys really like the planner, and it's super easy. Like, you see how this went from front to back? I adore it. Like, I really do love it. And so this one has pockets. But this is the planner. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Please make sure you thumbs up, you like, you subscribe, and you had a great day. I hope this video was very informative, and I will see you guys soon. Tick on.